Now then, do you like the way I've started the podcast now?
Yeah.
Welcome to the Sitcom Archive Deep Dive Overdrive. I'm Fred Truman, your co-host.
I don't know what's going on.
Do you ever watch that thing with Fred Truman? It was like a program on ITV where they all played games in a pub like darts, and the guy presenting it, he was a Yorkshireman, and he'd come on and go, "Now then," as his intro.
I don't even know who Fred Truman is.
Oh, I'll send you a link.
Oh.
I'm hoping that at least someone who's listening to this will know who Fred Truman is.
Oh, okay, right.
But he always started the show with "Now then," and he ended it with "I'll see thee."
Oh no, I don't. I'm not still none the wiser. I need to Google a picture of Fred Truman.
This is the least professional start to our podcast.
It is, isn't it? Let's have a quick look. Where is he? Ah, right, okay. Did he smoke a pipe?
He did, yeah. I think he was a cricketer.
Yeah. Yes, there's lots of pictures of him playing cricket. Okay, right, I know who he is now.
So, as I said, now then, I'm your co-host, Eggs Benedict.
And I am the other co-host, Alison Barton Simmons.
And yes, we're a couple of saddos who like to listen to 70s and 80s sitcoms and pull them apart and chat about them and basically spend an unhealthy amount of time obsessing over them.
It can get very obsessive, can't it? It's wonderful.
It can, yeah. We do go very far down that rabbit hole at times. And we're still focusing on The Good Life, or Good Neighbours, which ran from 1975 to 1978. Good Neighbours, of course, in the US, because they're weirdos and they wanted to rename it. And we're on the last episode of the first series of The Good Life. It's exciting, isn't it?
It is. It's backs to the wall.
Yeah. Not a very good episode, in my opinion, but don't turn off. Listen to us anyway. Stay. Apparently, when it was first shown on the BBC, it was shown to 7.7 million viewers. Wow. God, the 70s must have been dull.
It's huge in today's money, that, isn't it? That's massive.
Yeah, and yet in by the standards of the time, it was probably quite poor because they were getting 20 million, weren't they, in the second and third series?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not the best episode. However, we will be tweeting a link out where you can watch this for free on Dailymotion. Don't tell the BBC. Or you can watch it on BritBox if you have a subscription. Or you can buy the DVD from some dodgy geezer in Leicester like Al did.
Yep.
How much you pay again?
I think it was about £16.
16 quid, see? What better way to spend 16 quid in today's economy than cheering yourself up with 4 whole series of The Good Life? Well, do you want to play a new game then before we get stuck into this episode?
Always.
Okay. The new game is a simple game. It's a good old-fashioned game of true or false.
Oh, okay.
Right, let me play the jingle.
Is it true, Al, or is it false? Ba-dum-ba-dum. Is it true, Al, or is it false? Ba-dum-ba-dum. Is it true, or could it be false? Ba-dum-ba-dum. Is it true, or must it be false? Ba-dum-ba-dum. Is it true, Al, or is it false? Is it true or false? Al.
Oh, wowzers.
I went a bit over the top with that one, do you think?
I like it. I like the kazoo.
Yeah.
And your singing.
Of course, that was the best bit. So it's a simple game of true or false.
Yes.
The rules are simple. I'm going to ask you 3 questions, and you have to tell me if they're true or if they're false. And in order to win the quiz,
I want the prize, though.
If you want to win the quiz, you've got to get all 3 episodes right, and then you will win some as yet undefined prize. Okay?
Yes. Yep. Cool.
Okay. All right. True or false? Richard Briers, or Dickie to his friends, was very prudish and hated it if people used bad language on set. True or false?
I am going to say that is true.
Oh, you've fallen at the first hurdle.
Why?
Because he was, in fact, a prodigious swearer.
Was he?
He had an absolute potty mouth, and he was famous in the industry for turning swearing into an art form, or even a competition, according to his biographer.
All right.
One anecdote reveals that Brian Blessed and Kenneth Branagh would have fierce swear-offs on the set of Much Ado About Nothing. Can't imagine it, can you?
Wowzers.
You can with Blessed, but less so with Briars.
Just loud swearing.
Yeah.
Branagh? Branagh? Oh.
Branagh, yeah, I can see Branagh being a posh swearer.
Posh swearing, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, you've fallen, but have a try at the next 2 anyway.
Okay? I'll try my best.
Let's see if you can get a hat trick of wrong answers. Okay. Paul Eddington, who obviously starred as Jerry, he later went on to have his own sitcom, didn't he? Yes Minister, and then Yes Prime Minister.
Yep.
With Nigel Hawthorne. Good show. And he played the Prime Minister and formerly the Minister. He was immensely proud that Margaret Thatcher loved Yes Prime Minister and thought it was her favourite show. True or false?
False.
Correct.
Yay!
Ding. He hated the fact that Thatcher loved Yes Minister, and he really didn't like it at all. And then, I believe before Yes Prime Minister, it was still Yes Minister.
Yeah.
There was some sort of weird photo opportunity, and Thatcher went and met the creators of the show, including Eddington and Nigel Hawthorne. And she brought with her, weirdly, a mini episode of Yes Minister that she herself had written.
Oh, no.
And then they acted it out in front of the cameras, and it's on YouTube. I'll tweet it out. It's really, really... the standard of comedy and writing is about what you would expect from that well-known humorist Margaret Thatcher.
Oh, I feel really uncomfortable.
It's horrible. But it was her favourite show, apparently. And they didn't like doing it. They were really uncomfortable, but they were professionals and they did it.
And just did it. Oh, gosh.
Can you imagine Maggie sat there saying to Dennis, I'm going out, make sure you set the Betamax for Yes Minister.
Oh, no.
She's like, where are you going? Oh, I'm off for dinner with Jimmy Savile and General Pinochet. Just make sure it's taped.
Oh, dear me. Oh.
No. But you got that one right, so well done.
Yes. Yay me.
I'll give you your last one. The four main characters in the show that we're currently obsessing over, Tom and Barbara, Jerry and Margo,
yep.
Although there's sexual tension and frissons between the couples, they never swing. However, you wonder where this is going now. Two of the main actors did go on to play each other's spouse in a future production, true or false? As in, across the marriages.
True.
Correct. Do you know what it was?
I don't, but I can picture it, but I can't remember what it was called.
It was The Chamomile Lawn.
Of course.
With Paul Eddington and Felicity Kendall.
Yes.
They were a married couple.
Was it quite rude, that?
Yeah, it was nicknamed The Chamomile Porn.
Yeah.
By the Red Tops. By today's standards, it's really mild.
Yeah. I vaguely do remember it. I probably shouldn't have been watching it.
It was set during the war times, and it was a bit, I mean, my teenage self loved it, obviously. But
I bet, yeah.
It's very, very, very mild by today's standards.
Yeah.
So you got quite close. Even though you fell at the first hurdle, that was 2 out of 3. I
got 2/3.
I'll come back next week and ask you another 3. I'm sure I can rumble up another 3 bits of trivia about the Good Life actors. Unlucky, Al. And you get to hear the theme tune again for Is It True or False next week.
Well, I'll look forward to that.
Good life, good life, good life, good life, good life, good life, good life.
So enough of that nonsense. Let's get stuck into tonight's episode, which was Season 1, Episode 7, Backs to the Wall. My voice did a crap then, didn't it? Backs to the wall!
You just sound very excited and enthusiastic.
Yeah, and I am. So the scene, the show opens with a scene in the pub, which we've never visited the pub before. It was quite nice to see a 70s ale house.
Yeah. Or the wood panelling.
Yeah. I mean, it was a bit of a pointless scene. It felt pointless at the time. I thought, why are they in the pub? But it was nice to see the inside of a pub and to see a round only costing £2.36.
Yeah.
That was lovely.
Yeah.
And they're just setting the scene, aren't they? Because the Ledbetters are off to Kenya. Or Keyyyyyna, as I believe they call it. What is correct? What is the correct pronunciation?
I'm not sure. I would say Kenya, but...
Do you think that's just because we're northern? Do you
Possibly.
think Southerners always say Keyyyyyna?
Keyyyyyna could be the correct pronunciation.
Could be accurate, yeah, I don't know. But they're basically bragging about their trips to Africa, which they've clearly indulged in. It's quite adventurous, really, isn't it, for them?
I thought that. I tried to sort of look up like the cost of like a safari in 1975, but I really did struggle to find any answers because it struck me that this was quite an exotic middle class thing to do, to go on a safari for your holes when everybody else was getting as far as Benidorm, perhaps.
True, but then some of the barflies had also been to Tunisia, which Margo was very snooty about. And that's North Africa, isn't it?
There was a bit of a to-do, wasn't there, about which was most Africa, and Tunisia not really being like an African holiday, despite being on the continent of Africa.
It's another world, really, though, isn't it? Can you imagine, like, everyone that we know from our parents' generation watching it would have been like, we've never been to Kenya or Tunisia.
Exactly, yeah.
It's just a different world that they lived in.
Would be like just a very middle class, just what the rich folk do, isn't it, I suppose? Going away on safari. It would have been a million miles away from most people watching it, I'm guessing.
How the other half live, I think.
Yeah.
So then Tom and Barbara arrive in the pub, and clearly they don't make it there very much anymore because everyone's sort of surprised to see them. Because of their new lifestyle, I guess they don't have the disposable income.
Yep.
But then again, why would that stop Tom when he's quite happy to let Jerry buy his drinks, which is exactly what he does here.
Exactly.
He puts up a brief protest, but he's quite happy to let him. I'm surprised he didn't ask him to get him 20 Lambert and Butler, to be honest. But Jerry gets the beers in, and then it's just, the Ledbetters are just bragging about their itinerary, Nairobi to Mombasa, and I think Margo tells Barbara that she needs a holiday, which Barbara protests at. And the pub crowd are all a little bit mocking of the Goods' new life, but it's gentle, isn't it? It's not mean-spirited.
I think the scene as well, it's a sort of setup for the later scenes, isn't it, as well? Because Tom says, if anybody wants to come and help us, we can repay you in homemade wine. So they've already sort of like put it out there that they may require the help of friends. And I suppose they see the other drinkers in the pub as being friends. And you can always, if you want to come and help us, there's homemade wine in it for you. And I suppose that's just setting the scene for later on.
I reckon these locals are just tolerate Tom, don't you?
Yeah, he's always here.
He's only got one friend who, really, and that's what's shown in this episode ultimately.
Yeah.
He's only got one friend, and it's no wonder because he's such a prick.
Yeah.
So we cut back to the goods garden, don't we? And Tom and Barbara, having fun and messing about, talking to Geraldine, and it's all very idyllic, I thought, and it just looks lovely. It's a lovely sunny day. They've got the garden all nice. There's all those like 70s colour palette in the film. Yeah. I just thought, that's lovely, that.
I know, but it is the calm before the storm, quite literally, isn't it?
It is, yeah. But you can see why people would have been motivated to try self-sufficiency on the back of this show.
It looked beautiful.
The way it's being painted,
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think... No, I don't think anything. Sorry. Go on, carry on.
You don't? Okay. I might just leave that in. I don't think anything. Let me open my can. I'll leave that in as well because it makes it sound like I'm a high-functioning alcoholic. It's only a can of Coke.
I see one of your jokes. Very good.
So it's obviously some time after the pub scene, isn't it? Because when the goods go back indoors, they've got postcards from Jerry and Margo.
Separate postcards. They've got one each from each of them. Yeah.
When was the last time you actually sent someone a postcard from abroad?
I have to send one to my Spanish teacher every time we go to Spain as part of my homework that she sets me.
Okay. Well, other than for some academic reason, when was the last time that you actually thought, I'm going to write a postcard and send it to Sarah or something like that?
Do you know what? Probably the year before last.
Was it?
It's not that long
since. I thought it was a lost, forgotten pastime.
Prior to that, probably when I was about 11. It was a long time ago. Mm.
It's almost a dying industry, isn't it? The postcard industry, I'd say.
Yeah. But it's it's so nice, though, receiving a postcard from somebody on holiday. I think I'm going to resurrect it.
I used to find them frustrating because...
Why?
Well, for one thing, you get a postcard and every other read it by the time you get it because it's not in an envelope. Secondly, there's only room to fit about a paragraph and a half on. So you don't really, you're like, I wonder what it's like. And you don't get to know anything. So it's just frustrating experience.
Yeah. It's just a brag, innit? A brag with a stamp on it.
Yeah. The only postcards I liked were the mucky ones that you buy in Blackpool. Remember them?
Yes.
Filthy ones.
I was a bit too keen there to answer that. Yes, I do know which ones.
I remember them. I've got a little collection upstairs. So they've got the postcards. Margo is very disparaging about the facilities.
Yes, as we would expect.
But they're off, they're off in Africa. And that sort of writes them out for the show, really, doesn't it?
Yes, yeah.
So
they weren't. I sort of assumed they weren't going to be in it at all. I thought it was just setting it up as they're away and that's it.
Well, largely they weren't in it, and I think that's possibly one of the reasons why it wasn't such a great episode, because you really miss the chemistry between the couples. But and then we see Tom. He throws his back out, getting up to make some coffee in a case of instant karma striking after he makes some chauvinistic remarks about Barbara.
Yeah.
And he immediately throws his back out, and I thought, good.
Yeah.
But, he's making a big song and dance about it, and then the doc shows up to examine the big man-child.
This was strange. Prostrate
on the couch, isn't he? And she's not very gentle, is she, with the fucker? She's throwing him about while she's examining him.
She undoes his pants, though, and then Tom quite literally says, hello, and it's just very, very creepy. Why? Undoing his pants. I
don't quite understand why she would have needed to undo his pants.
I don't think she did. I don't think she did at all.
No. Again, this is one for Good Life After Dark.
Absolutely. And she was wagging his legs around all over the place, his legs and his arms and...
Foreplay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she doesn't give him a sweet, much to his chagrin, because he is a big child. Oh, I didn't get a sweet. It's pathetic. But it turns out the bastard's only pulled a muscle. That's all that's happened to him.
She only prescribes painkillers.
She prescribed him, a bit of aspirin, puts him on effective bed rest.
Yeah.
And the upshot is he can't work, which is, the exposition for the episode. But what a fuss the making. Oh, sorry, that's twice I've dropped the C-bomb. The fuss that he's making, he hasn't slipped a disc, he hasn't done anything more serious than pulled a muscle. I've got a pulled muscle right now, Al. Right now. In fact, I've got two. You don't see me fucking lying around whinging like a bell end, do you?
No. Just get some Voltarol on it and, let's just have done with it.
Yeah, exactly. But that's just Tom, isn't it?
Good life, good life, good life, good life, good life, good life, good life.
Barbara makes up Tom's bed on the floor, which I think is evidence of a secret agenda on her part. She's like, I'm going to get a bit of fucking peace and quiet. He won't be making noises. I won't have to share a bed with him,
Yeah, no mithering.
She's got an evening planned upstairs with her electric toothbrush, I think. Running off the cellar generator.
Chamomile lawn and the electric toothbrush.
I'm surprised she didn't leave him a bucket to shit and piss in, but she leaves him be and turns it in, doesn't she? But then the following morning, he's no better. He's still sort of whinging and moaning, and he's unable to stand up and he's just not fit for anything, really. And they quickly discover that is a disaster because the overnight storm has ruined the goods garden.
Oh, that was really sad. The scene of the outside devastation.
It was, yeah.
Pigs everywhere, fences down.
Were the pigs scattered around? Were they?
The pigs were eating all the crops.
Oh, I thought you meant like a scene from Saving Private Ryan, just like dead pigs. Just
No.
Well, that would have been grim, wouldn't it? Pig impaled on the fence post.
Oh my God, no! They were just troughing the way through all the fallen crops.
And Tom, he's uncharacteristically defeatist about the situation, isn't he?
Oh, it feels really sad.
Yeah, I actually really felt, even though I obviously despise Tom and everything he does, I felt really bad for him because you've not seen him defeated before. He's usually Mr. Positive, isn't he? And he's just, well, that's that then,
Oh.
Poor Tom.
With his walking sticks, his two walking sticks.
I think he must just realise that without Jerry to leech off, there's no help.
It's all gone to
coming.
shit. Yeah.
I mean, he packs off Barbara to the alehouse to canvass for help, and the locals are not exactly responsive.
Nope, she empties the pub, literally.
Yep. Perhaps you should have gone in with a more with an approach akin to that she took with that window cleaner.
Oh yes,
in episode 2. Yeah. But both Tom and Barbara mention the spirit of the Blitz.
I was just going to
times.
say, they evoke the spirit of the Blitz, which seems to be the sort of the thing we do when things are not going well.
Yeah, it made them sound, maybe it's just through the contemporary lens, but it made them sound like a couple of gammons.
A little
couple
bit.
Of, Brexiteers, that's a word, isn't it? I don't like that word. It's so contrived. But yeah, they're not getting any help. And back at the goods, Tom's just struggling around, and
he makes a brew. He uses like a month's worth of tea to create drinks for the workers, and then nobody turns up, and they've got like 4 pots of tea to drink. Tea or coffee, I can't remember. They've got 4 pots of hot drinks to drink anyway.
Urinary tract infections all round that night for Tom and Barbara if they drink all that. But even though Barbara comes back empty-handed, she's such a trooper. She's just, she's not defeated, unlike Tom.
No.
She's just straight out to work.
Getting on with it.
Cracking on. And then I think we cut to later that evening. There's a really curious scene where Barbara's exhaustedly just bringing the potatoes in with no dialogue. And it lasts nearly a whole minute. She's just dragging the potatoes in, and Tom's just watching, and I thought, it's a bit weird. But, and then eventually Tom's just like, no, you're not going out again. And initially I was like, well, good on you, Tom, because he feels bad for Barbara. But then my anti-Tom bias sort of kicked in, and I thought, he's feeling rotten for the wrong reasons here. He's feeling rotten because he isn't the big man providing. Do you know what I mean? It's all about him. It's a pride thing again.
Absolutely. He says, ladies and gentlemen, you too can do this to your wife. So he's sort of feeling a bit sort of ashamed and a bit sorry for himself, perhaps. Yeah,
it's all about him. It's always all about him, the narcissist. And then he says, hell's bells, you're dirty, which is another line from Good Life After Dark. And then I think after that we cut, don't we, to the following morning, and it's a relief, I suppose, to see that the genial, enthusiastic, whistling Tom...
The whistling's back.
He's back on form. I don't know what's happened overnight, but he appears to have spent the night, or at least the early part of the morning, doing some improvised potato picking with like a sort of ladle or a shovel or something. What was it?
Yeah, it was like a sieve on the end of his walking stick.
Yeah,
so that he could pick up potatoes.
He's just using his initiative, and he's slow going, but he's been at it, and I think Barbara and Tom just bemoan the pub gadflies, and like, we're not going to get any help, but let's just crack on because this is a life we've chosen. So that's good, because they're just, Tom's recovered from his from being down in the mouth, and he's joined Barbara with, let's just see what we can do. And then they get the unexpected boon of Jerry popping his head in, don't they?
Yes.
Because he's come home from Africa early.
With the cry of, is it hello peasants? He shouts as he enters. Hello, peasants.
I love Jerry. He's great.
Yeah.
But then the goods, and this isn't just Tom, it's Barbara as well, they are immediately expectant that Jerry will help.
Yeah.
Totally entitled. The guy's just come back from his holiday from Africa.
Yeah, you're back. So come on, you can come and join us.
Yeah.
However, Jerry has a broken leg after an argument with a Land Rover in Mombasa.
Yeah, his leg's in plaster, isn't it? So there's nothing doing there, and we think, oh God, what's going to happen here? But having said that, the whole episode is set up, really. You can see it coming a mile off, that what's going to happen is the Ledbetters are going to come back and rescue the situation.
Yes.
The twist being that it isn't Jerry for once, because when we cut outside to the invalids, we see Tom and Jerry trying to level best, despite their respective maladies, to dig up the potatoes and do all the other things that need doing. And then Tom's, sort of grumbling and being an ingrate as usual. And then Margo turns up in what can sort of generously be described as a full hazmat suit.
She has. Oh, bless her. She's there already in her wellies.
Yeah, and she has a little pratfall, but no one takes the mickey because even Tom realises they need her.
Absolutely. The audience went fucking wild, though. At that point.
I know, yeah. It was just a pratfall, wasn't it?
It was like laughing gas. They were just hysterical.
Do you think they wheeled in the On the Buses crowd for that?
It sounded like it. It did, yeah. Yeah.
Benny Hill.
It was a good fall, though.
Yeah, and to be fair, Penelope Keith is fantastic in these scenes with her physical comedy.
is,
You know,
yeah.
the way she's carrying herself delicately across the mud and prancing about and sort of picking one at a time. I don't even know what she was picking, but she was doing it.
They were
really...
runner beans. They taking
runner beans.
One runner bean at a time. Yeah.
Yeah, and she's doing it brilliantly. She's doing it in a ridiculously inefficient way, which
Yes.
Tom calls her out on.
Yes.
And Margot's about to leave, isn't she?
Well, thank you very much, Tom. Goodbye.
She says, thank you very much, Tom. Goodbye. And then he's just going to go home.
Yeah. She doesn't mess about, does she?
No, give a shit. Like, she's got loads of washing to do from her holidays. Like, she wants to stick around and pick runner beans.
She's probably got a bloody lamp to rub next door to get the genie out to do her own
The
garden.
watering. Yeah, exactly.
But as she's about to leave, Barbara, she calls Tom out on his lack of gratitude, but she also refers to Margot as weak and feeble.
Weak and feeble.
It's sort of, I don't know if it's deliberate on Barbara's part, but it works as a reverse psychology thing.
Absolutely. Because Margot would not want to be referred to as weak and feeble. She does not see herself as weak and feeble.
No, and then she, to be fair, after knocking them all over, much to the hilarity of the audience, she mucks in. And good for her.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, basically, the harvest is gathered, and it's a big hooray, you know?
Yes.
The final scene, after they've gathered the harvest is quite poignant, really, especially in terms of Margot's character development, because it's a nice little cherry on the cake as they all head to the pub. Margot makes a witty joke.
Yes.
To the barman.
What happened? Get trampled by a herd of elephants?
No, runner beans.
And she's very pleased with herself.
Yeah. And I think it's seeing like a new Margot into it. It's seeing like the sort of strength that character can bring to the show moving forward, which we see from like this series onwards, don't we?
Yeah, it's a nice button on the end of the series because the series has got, I mean, it's a weak episode, but it's a natural conclusion to the series for the harvest to come up trumps. For Margot to have that character development that she's put the effort in and she's even managed to, you know, pluck a joke from somewhere because famously she's got no sense of humour. So I thought it's quite a nice end to a fairly uneventful episode, really.
Absolutely. And there's lots of cross-couple kissing as well going on.
Yeah. I thought they were all going to throw the keys in the bowl in the pub.
I know, it did. It was a little bit, but...
The credits were a bit hidey-high, weren't they?
They were!
You know,
it was face and name, face and name, face and name.
The only thing that would have made it cheesier is if, when the name came up, the actor had looked directly into the camera and raised their glass. You'd see Penelope Keith just going, cheers.
and then the audience cheered louder when the faces come on. Whoa! Like on Hidey High.
Ruth Maddock.
Yay!
Yay! What was the name? What? Paul Shane. Baby, baby. You ever seen that clip of him doing that?
Yes.
Yeah, we're not going to do a deep dive into Heidi High, I don't think.
No,
that's not going to happen.
That's aged. Badly.
Yeah, definitely. Do you remember when the stars of On the Buses and the stars of Heidi High got together to do basically it was all the actors who were in both those shows got together to do one gloriously awful show called Oh Dr. Beeching, and it was set at a train station.
Yes, I do know about that.
And it was just awful. I mean, Blakey was just running around. I mean, he obviously wasn't called Blakey, but he's just running around going, oh my God, the bloody train hasn't arrived. Oh, I hate you, Butler, or whoever the other character was. It's just the same old shit, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know why we're going off on a tangent there. I think for this...
I did like You Rang My Lord, though.
Did you? Oh,
yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah,
I think
it was
we
awful.
should... if we ever get to the stage where we, you know, monetize this podcast and make stuff available for a premium, it should be us doing an episode by episode deep dive of sitcoms we hated.
Oh, yes.
So we're just poisonous about things. Some would say this is already what I'm doing with Tom Good, but yeah. My main problem with this last episode was there just wasn't any jeopardy, really. You kind of fully anticipate the Ledbetters are going to come back to save the day.
Yes.
And, yeah, the comedy is just in that last scene with Margo just, mucking in. But the irony is, she lives down there in Penelope Keith. She's 80 now, isn't she? She does that show about coastal towns. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
And she's apparently like a mad keen gardener. She loves nothing better than to get outside and grow stuff and weed. So
with a very small watering can.
With a small watering can. But Richard Briers, he hated doing everything in The Good Life. He hated getting muddy. He didn't like going near the goat.
Right.
So it's kind of ironic, really, isn't it?
It is, isn't it? Oh, there was
as soon as the camera stopped rolling, it was swapping roles.
I did do a SIG watch. I did a fag watch in this episode, and it was nil.
No fags.
No fags in this one. I just dropped that in. It was even in the pub. I was sort of half expected him to bum a cigarette off someone. Nope, didn't happen.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Jerry.
So no cigarettes, but in terms of your most valuable player, who would it be in this episode?
Oh, I'm a bit torn this week. Partly Barbara for saving the day with the harvest initially. Just chucking all the energy into saving their lives, literally. Or Margo sort of swooping in at the end in her hazmat suit and picking the pea pods and getting stuck in when that was unexpected. I'm gonna go Margo for the pratfall as well, because there was the whole comic element of her falling over in the mud.
Acting, the way that she was moving was masterful, really. She you can't imagine anyone else pulling that off as well as Penelope Keith did. So she's my MVP too, just because of saving the day, and also she cracked a joke. Good for you, Mark. It wasn't a very good joke, but she cracked a joke.
Yeah.
So let me add that to the list, and I'll give you an update, an end of series update.
Have we got like a pie chart?
Margo. So
got a graph.
I'll tell you, we've got coming in last, Mr. Carter with 1 vote so far. And then we have 2 MVPs for Jerry.
Yes.
All in the same episode 5. We both voted for Jerry. And then Margo has 3 votes.
Yep.
Barbara has 4 votes. And Tom has 5 votes. Who'd have thought?
Wow. I didn't expect that.
Well, it's early days. We've got another... How many more have we got? 23 episodes to go.
Yeah, so it's all up for grabs, isn't it?
It's all up for grabs. Is it time to have a little trip over to Al's Fashion Corner?
Yes, let's go.
Fashion Corner, Fashion Corner. Fashion Corner, Fashion Corner.
It's my only mention this week is Margo. For 2 reasons. The safari wear in the pub prior to her trip to Kenya, the ensemble that she had on, the khaki, it was like a khaki dress, and it was a animal print headscarf, obviously highlighting the fact that she was due to go on holiday the next day, and they'd gone to the pub just for a few pre-holiday drinks.
To show off, probably.
She stuck out like a sore thumb, quite literally. Dressed for the occasion, but it's worth a mention because it was very un-Margo looking, but she obviously wore it for a purpose. And also wearing things for a purpose later on in the episode, the bright yellow sou'westery hazmat suit for collecting vegetables in the garden, just because it was almost like a tailored hazmat suit. The fact that if anybody else had worn a sou'westery bright yellow outfit, they would look ridiculous. I don't think she looked ridiculous. I thought she looked very stylish in what she had on, despite the fact that there was supposed to be a comic element to it. But I think just seeing Margo slightly out of her comfort zone like that, it just made me smile, and it was definitely worth a mention. Because it was the sort of like reveal of Margo in the garden wearing that was great. I thought it was really funny.
Well, thank you very much, Al. Goodbye.
So, Ben, we are on to Series 2 next week. What's our first episode called?
Just My Bill. Just My Bill. Yeah, it's a funny name, isn't it? The Goods' financial situation worsens as they begin to realise their first crop can't be sold.
Oh, no.
So it's a bit of a come down after the
I'm on a downer already at the thought of that.
Bloody hell.
Oh.
Yeah.
It'll be all right.
Oh, well. I don't really remember much about it, but I'm looking forward to it because Series 2, I'm so Americanised these days. Series 2 of The Good Life, or Season 2 of The Good Neighbours, is my favourite. I think there's some corking episodes in Season 2. So I'm sure it'll be good.
Excellent. So if you want to follow us on social media, you can check us out on Twitter and Instagram at SADDO Podcast. On Facebook, you can search out the SADDO Podcast. That's SADDO. We have a website, www.saddo.club, where you can get more information or listen to the episodes. Get in touch. You can email us at saddopodcast@gmail.com. And please subscribe and leave us a review on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts.
Thanks again for listening. And we'll see you next week.
Thank you very much. Goodbye.
I'll see you.